Hey guys, what's up? McFlurry here, and today I'm gonna be maybe starting a brand new series, and that is a movie slash game review series. So this is basically I got inspired by these two guys, like not just any like most reviewers out there, critic YouTube critics, I believe, but I got inspired by these two, which big shout out to them. That is Ram Borath for life and OCP Communications. I was recently watching some of their videos. Their their ranting videos are funny, but if you're a kid watching this video, I recommend do not watch their videos until you're like 16, the age of like 16 to 18 years old. So yeah, I got inspired by both of them, and this is just gonna be strictly my opinion. All right, there's the number one rule of this new series: my opinion. All right, I know you guys get it, but the reason why I'm saying it like that, because there are just people that are just relentless. Like, no offense to them, but there are just people that just do not like to see other people have their own opinions. And it doesn't matter whether you like the movie or the game, or you like or you dislike the movie or the game. It don't matter. You're always the victim, no matter what. No matter what side you're on, really. And it's just disgraceful. It is atrocious. It is just bad, and it really sucks. So this is just my opinion. I warn you one last time. My opinion. Alright? I don't want to see no hate comments or anything. My opinion. If you do not like this movie or the movies the games I review on this channel, that is fine. We're allowed to have our own opinions. But we shouldn't go if you may have a friend, and he or she doesn't like the movie, that's fine. Different opinions, doesn't mean you have to attack her or him for it. Same thing goes if your friend or girlfriend don't like a movie, that's fine. If your if your girlfriend or friend does like a movie but you don't like, that does not give you the opportunity to just attack them for it. It is not a wise thing to do, people. It is not a good thing to do. And, you know, I really hate that, you know, and I used to be like that at points. So, you know, of course, we all have our goof ups, we all have our flaws, but like, remember, you can at least be a good person, like, we learn from our mistakes, you could still be a good person, you know. I'm just teaching a lesson here, so teaching a lesson because, you got to get it out there, just, I know this is just a movie review, but trust me, people, like, it is just anarchy on YouTube when it comes to arguments, debates, opinions. I mean, it reminds me of like the old days when kids, even in school to this day, where kids would just fight over which character is better, which movie or game's better. And it's ridiculous. I mean, come on, guys. We're teenagers, we're adults, you know, and the same thing goes for ranting over a movie and liking it. You can't really over glorify a movie, or like if you're ranting on a movie, like is it worth to talk nasty like that? Is it worth to break something? Is it same thing goes for a game, is it worth to break something? It really isn't. It's just, remember at the day, guys, it's just a movie or it's just a game. Just my opinion. All right? So I want to get the first video in this review series, and I want to make that a rule. I want to make myself clear. I want to make that clear. So yeah, opinions. I know that's a very serious part of the video, but it has to be out there. So if you do not like this movie, that's fine. If you like this movie, great. You know. So, as you can tell from the title, my review, first ever review on the channel of any game or any movie ever made, I'm going to tackle the MonsterVerse again because I don't know, I just want to start out this way. And of course, Once again, like I always keep saying, the one that started it all, Godzilla 2014. Now, I talked about my history with this movie dozens of times already, but this is a review on the movie, and I'm gonna go over it again because I want to get an update on these. So this is the 2-disc special edition. There you go. Yes, I still have this DVD. I think my mom bought it for me on Christmas in like December 2014 or uh Christmas 2015. I don't know. But, one of those Christmases, and so, alright, another thing too, I don't know what it is, but if you guys hear my example of trying to tell you the story of these movies, I don't know if I can say it that good. Like, I don't know if I can example it because, I gotta remember, like, every detail, and I gotta explain it, like, so goodly so you guys do not cringe at it. So, I'll just try the best I can and maybe at least give you a little hint of the story, you know. But there's just some moments where I'm just gonna do like probably like a 30-second explanation of it, what it is. So yeah, first, I'm gonna talk about my history with this movie, and I'm gonna get into the story, dig into the characters, the positives and the negatives. All right, so here we go, Godzilla 2014. All right. My history with this movie, I watched Godzilla Final Wars, which is my second favorite Godzilla movie, by the way. Um, I was a bit sad, watching. I used to watch the James Rolfe Cinemassacre reviews on the Godzilla series. You know, a bit bummed out that the Godzilla series ending. I thought that was it. Godzilla was never coming back to the cinemas. Never coming back to the movie world. You know, one of my childhood characters. And then this movie started getting knowledge. I was like, I didn't really actually have that much big a reaction to it, but it's like, okay, cool, Godzilla's back. And then keep in mind, I was a kid, so don't come at me with torches and pitchforks, people. I was a kid, so yeah, more of a kid back then. I was probably like, I can't remember, but like, probably like good like 10 to 13 years old when this movie came out. So yeah. Possibly 7 or 8 or 9. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to count that. But so this movie came out, and I never really like saw this movie in the theaters. So you guys must be like, oh man, you really missed out. Like you missed the whole weight and scale of the monsters and that stuff. And then I saw my mom got it for me on Redbox, and I'll be my honest opinion. Because I was a kid, I used to see some certain movies differently. And for some reason, I just did not like this movie. I thought it was boring. I thought it was, like, not that action orientated. It wasn't the Godzilla I knew. Just like, what in the world? This isn't the Godzilla I grew up with, you know? And it wasn't really fun. And then I actually didn't like this movie when I first saw it as a kid. I didn't hate it. I just, not a fan of it at all. Just didn't like it. Just disliked the movie. But however, what made me hate this movie was the fans. Because the fans were, I was a kid, so this is before I had a full knowledge on what opinions were. So, like, I don't know why I just got annoyed, like, about hearing so many great things about this movie. I'm just like what the movie I saw, it was not what they saw. I thought it was a piece of poop film. I didn't like it. And then the fans made me hate the movie because it made me annoyed at this movie, and the fact that I heard there was gonna do a cinematic universe, people talking about that this is the big return to Godzilla, and I was like, cool, Godzilla's coming back, yay, and then, yeah. So I feel like I got ripped off, and I hated this movie. It made me hate this movie, and I really didn't like it. And then years later, we got Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then I saw what a great film that was. And then, of course, there were some debates about comparing it to 2014, and yes, some people did like 2014 better. And, out here I'm older now, much older, learn about opinions more, you know, this, and I saw this, this comparison video, and shout out to this guy. His name is Up From the Depths, and if you're a Godzilla fan watching this video, you should know him. So he is Up From the Depths, and he basically reviews kaiju movies, I believe, maybe monster movies, but even ones not Godzilla related. But he reviews a lot of Godzilla and King Kong related stuff, and I watched his stuff review before, and of course his reviews on the MonsterVerse, and his review of the MonsterVerse and Godzilla 2014, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then the comparison. Oh, sorry about that, guys. The comparison between Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now it comes down to opinions, but after watching that video, of course I let my hate go away for this movie, and I gave 2014 another shot, and looking at it all in the way, now I'm smarter now, I'm older, I'm more matured now, it's been years, you know, and, finally at one point, I got to watch this movie again, for a couple times, first time I tried to watch it, didn't really succeed, and then I watched this, again, I managed to watch it all the way through, and, and Gareth Edwards intended to be something different of a film. It intended to be different. He intended this to be different in a realistic, dark, gritty type of film, a serious Godzilla film, and it's trying to pay, in a way, homage to the first Godzilla film from 1954. And looking at that all, combining that all together, I saw that this was a good film. It's If you look at it the way Gareth Edwards tends to be, you know, it's a good Godzilla movie. You have to go into this movie thinking it's different. It's not your action monster movie. It's not like the other MonsterVerse films. It meant to be something different. And fun fact, if you look at this movie and compare it to Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and GVK, you'll see they all have something different, but GVK, King of the Monsters, and Skull Island, they're all action orientated. They're popcorn flicks, but this one was the only different one. It was literally only different, the most different one. And there's an explanation for that. Because this was intended to be a solo movie. Just a comeback to the Godzilla character. But then I think Legendary, they saw how successful it was, and they're just like, Gareth Edwards made a good movie, successful at the box office, great with critics, okay, decent with audience, and they saw that, the fans were on board, and then they're just like, hey, and they got the rights to King Kong, and they're like, hey, let's make a cinematic universe, and that's how it all began with this movie. So it was meant to be something different. That's why it's so different in comparison to the other films. And looking at it, it's a good, decent Godzilla movie. It's a decent Godzilla movie. It's a good Godzilla film. But just that was me back in the day. I was a kid, and I didn't really see that from this movie. But now I do. You just have to look at this different. Will I come? The only time where I'll probably watch this film again is when I'm having a MonsterVerse marathon or Godzilla MonsterVerse marathon, or hey, maybe I'll have some Godzilla marathon in the future. I don't know. Any moments like that, just to, But just to watch this film on a daily basis, nah, I don't really see that. But, if you want to do that, that's completely fine if you do that. Alright, so that's my history with this movie. The story? Alright, here we go. Alright, let's see if I can do this good enough. So basically, like, at first it's like a flashback scene, sort of, where I believe, opens up with the opening montage scene, and then with the classic iconic 2014 theme, and then it opens up, and I believe we get to Bryan Cranston's character, which is, I believe his name is Joe Brody, and he's with his wife, and they go into this thing. I believe they're like working at a power plant or something, and meanwhile their son's in school, which is Ford Brody. And a lot of people are making this comparison to Jaws, which I believe was. And by the way, I saw that one recently. I would actually kind of like to. Yeah, I'll do that review. I'll do that review. Um, and then something goes wrong, and unfortunately, Ford Brody's mom, aka Joe Brody's wife, didn't make it. She died there. Big accident happened. She died there with other people, and we get to, I don't know, 14, 20, 25 years later. I don't know. Possibly even 30. I can't remember, but he to the Ford Brody dude, he's an adult now. He's working with the military, I believe. And his dad is like investigating something, aka Joe Brody, the son, Ford Brody, he's grown up now, he's an adult, he has a wife and kid, and then they're basically, and his dad's kind of gone insane. The dad knows something's up, and he gets his dad out of this. He visits his dad in Japan, I believe, and he's in this jail, and he gets him out of there. He bails him out, and then I believe, or he gets released, and then he has a reignite with his dad, and then he's trying to discover what caused the power plant accident. What caused everything to go downhill, and then basically, they try and investigate, and you got these other characters involved, Ken Watanabe, who's Dr. Sarazawa in here, and of course, you got to say the classic lines, "Let them fight." Probably the most iconic line in the MonsterVerse of all time, and it all started with this. And he has an assistant, I believe, and there's this general guy. I forgot the names. I'm sorry, but like the only names I remember is Dr. Sarazawa, Joe Brody, and Ford Brody. That's it. And then I think they get caught, and then they get brought to this base where the military are looking at this egg. They're investigating it. They're studying it, I believe, and it's an egg. And then something goes wrong, blows up, and then the male Mewtwo pops out, and then unfortunately, Joe Brody's dad suffers a similar fate and gets killed. Spoiler alert. Yeah, I forgot to mention spoiler alert, but at the same time, yeah, this movie's been out for a while now. So yeah, by the way, spoiler alert warnings, and pretty much every Godzilla fan knows this movie. And he his dad dies, unfortunately, and then he's supposed to, and then he meets up with Sarazawa and these other guys. So you're trying to discover, and then that's when Dr. Sarazawa brings up about Godzilla, and then along the lines of, like, in 1954, we awakened something. And Sarazawa already starts seeing as Godzilla as like this hero, this defender, I believe. And then later, and of course, his wife and his kid are going through this trouble in the city, and then you know and then there's this cool scene where it happens later on, so I'll get to that. There's another egg, I believe, and then it hatches, and it's a Muto again, but it's different, it's bigger, it's it's bigger, got longer arms, different shape, and they found out they're releasing different cries, and turns out that's a female one, and the smaller one, which actually can fly, is and the shorter arms is a male one. And then they get together, and then they're ready to have babies, and then basically uh and there's like a scene, there's like build up to Godzilla coming, and we know he's gonna come, and then there's build ups, there's cool scenes like he rises out of the water, a tsunami happens. We got the cool flare shot scene, which is you can kind of see there. And then um basically there's a cool scene where the Ford Brody dude, he gets to a bus station. This poor kid got separated from his parents, and he helps the kid get back to his parents, but at the same time they get caught in like a train rampage scene with the male Muto. And then I believe in that scene, in the airport, Godzilla arrives there, probably makes his coolest appearance in a long time. And this is after Final Wars, so once again we get another Bad Bud first appearance. So cool. The build-up is worth it. Waiting all that time. For that cool moment. If you're a hardcore Godzilla fan, I would say that scene is definitely worth it. So yeah, and then basically, the rest of the movie happens. I don't want to spoil the rest of it, just in case. So there you go, guys. My best way of explaining the story of this movie. I know you might have found that cringy, but oh well. Let me know if I did a good way of explaining that story. If not, I'm sorry. It's just, when it comes to explaining stories about movies, I'm just there watching the movie. I'm enjoying it, and then I'm like, yeah, I have to remember what was the story about. I gotta remember every little detail. Well, not every little detail. You don't need to be perfect at explaining this stuff, but that was the best way I can explain it. So yeah, there's a story there. Average monster story, I believe. And then we get the positives of this film. Basically, here's my verdict, my opinion, the main thing of this video, the main part of this video, I should say. All right. So the positives: Joe Brody is played by Bryan Cranston, as you can see there. So he's a very good actor. He does the job well done. Possibly, I would agree, he's the best character because of his acting. Great acting, 8 to 9 out of 10. So yeah. And then great character, but the downfall, I'll get to that later. I'll get when I talk about the negatives. Yeah, he's in this. He's really good actor. You got the classic lines. You got cool lines from Ken Watanabe. At least, called Dr. Serizawa. In 1954, we awakened something, and I can't remember the first part. I'll try to best like man's thinking nature's in our control. Like I won't doubt them right or wrong. Something like that. I can't remember fully. And then of course there's let them fight. I'm sorry if that was cringy, but oh well. It's the best, And then great, you got really great CGI in this movie. Great CGI effects. Then you got the Godzilla scenes, which are all highlights of this movie. They're all great, and seeing Godzilla in these scenes, I guess it's worth the build up. It's worth waiting. You know, you got the cool appearance scenes where he appears off in the distance in the dust, like the mist, and then the thunder effect happens, and then he does the possibly his loudest roar in cinema history ever, in movie history, and then he fights the male Muto. And of course, his first appearance in the airport scene and in the rain scene, that scene where he crashes through the bridge, and his final battle against the two Mutos. Now the two Mutos, they're okay, decent monsters, but they're cool. And what makes it even cooler is that, according to from what I heard, Goji Fan 93, in an earlier review, that Gareth Edwards there, he's inspired by other monsters like the Cloverfield monster, and they're basically, and he's basically inspired. He was inspired by the Cloverfield monster, one of the monsters, to create the Mutos. So yeah, there's that. And the final battle in the end, there's a lot of cutting away. I warn you about that, but I'll get to that later. But hey, at least the fight is good while it lasts, and it's good when you actually see the monsters. You know, and Gareth Edwards added an interesting thing where he made it realistic. The animals fight animalistically and realistically. You got size and weight. He films it from a lot of low angles to make the monsters actually look big, and in combination with the great CGI, it's all good. It's very good. And what else? Oh yeah, Godzilla being a bad butt, a cool character in this movie. Um, he grabs the Muta with one arm, bites her on the neck, pushes her back, and then pushes her down to the ground. Sort of slams her through a building, kicks on her, stomps on her, and then we got that cool moment where he turns around and tail whips the male Muto into a building, which kills him instantly. And of course, we probably have what became his most classic fatality move ever. Um, well, I'll get to that after this. There's the classic atomic breath build-up scene. There's that. There's the victory roar, and he, then there's another roar where he, in the morning when he wakes up from his battle, from exhaustion, and we get probably what became his most classic fatality scene in any movie. It is up there. It probably rivals King Kong's jaw-breaking move, and that is his classic famous kiss of death, where he sprays his atomic breath into the female Muto's mouth, and then he basically decapitates her. He literally decapitates her and holds her head a little bit like a trophy. We got his victory roar. And at least they try to give Goji some bit of a soul there. It's very good. Pretty good. And the score, decent score, you know, good. It's pretty good. Try to do something different. And um what else? What other good things? Oh yeah, the build-up is good, the suspension is good. Yeah. Uh my opinion, the characters, despite him dying off early, spoiler, um the other characters, even though to a lot of Godzilla fans their acting is dull, to be honest, I don't mind the human characters in any of the MonsterVerse movies. I don't mind them. I think they're sort of, in my opinion, they're passable. I don't know. That's my experience. That's just what I see. That's just how I see it. They're passable. Even the characters in this movie are passable, which I did not mind them at all. I really did not mind them. And I did not mind the humans in this movie. And what Gareth Edwards succeeded at, what Gareth Edwards intended to be like, and the way he intended it to be, he really succeeded at that, and he did a good job. I will say he did a good job, and what it did for the future of the franchise, it brought Godzilla back, and it also brought another one of the famous giant movie monsters and movie monsters in general back in a sort of way. And we got the amazing sequel, as a sequel, of course, Godzilla King of the Monsters, at least in my opinion. And then it led up to the classic, you know what? Led up to the classic rematch of the century. But that is saved for a fourth review. My fourth review. So yeah, the negatives, of course, uh, the best character gets killed off early. Of course, not that much Godzilla cuts away to the humans in the final battle. And I know it's meant to be dark and gritty, but it's pretty dark at some points. It's hard to watch at points. And the fights may not be as fun, but they make up for it for being sort of interesting because it's meant to be realistic. And Godzilla's savage moments in this movie. So yeah, there's that. Um, it can be boring at points. I will be honest. It still has that. It still can be boring, but at least I was patient enough for the monster stuff. And it's like supposed to be Jaws or Alien or Predator, or the original Wolfman from 1941, where it's supposed to, Goji doesn't appear until like half an hour in, or almost an hour into the movie. Almost an hour into the movie. That's too long. I'm sorry, but still, at least Godzilla is cool in those scenes, and him getting beaten up by the two Mutos, it doesn't really like monsters like Mechagodzilla or King Ghidorah or Destroya, Space Godzilla or Biollante. They make sense, but but the Mutos? I'm like, come on, man, Godzilla should be manhandling them. But at the same time, this is his first movie in this cinematic universe. It's his comeback. At the same time, you want to make him look like he can be an underdog. You want to make him you want to have him feel sympathy. You know, you know, feel bad for him, make him a likable character. So yeah, there's that. So at least there's a bright side to that. So yeah, and what it did for the series, yeah, that's pretty much it. What else do I have to say? That's pretty much it. That's all I have to say about this film. I really have nothing else to say about it. Oh yeah, the Godzilla roar in the movie was awesome, of course. And it made this movie, in a way, made Godzilla even more of an icon and even more popular than he was. So that's another positive about this movie. So all in all, I think with this movie, you have to go into it like it's something different, or else you're not gonna enjoy it that much. So yeah, there's that, but if you look at this way, the way Gareth Edwards intended to be, and it's a good Godzilla movie, it's a decent Godzilla movie, it's good. My opinion, I think it's good. If you're intending this to be like an action fest, like the 3 other movies that are coming up on this review series, then you're not gonna find what you're looking for in this one. But I would say it's decent. You know, maybe give it a rewatch yourself again. And decent Godzilla film, in my opinion. If you do not like this movie, that's fine. I can obviously see why. Um. So yeah, that's pretty much it for 2014. So yeah, there's that, and I'll rate this film a 7 out of 10. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. 2014 gets a 7 out of 10. And that is it, guys, for this review. So see you guys next time for we take a look at Kong Skull Island. So, this is McFlurry signing out, and stay tuned for more videos and more toy show videos, and of course, a certain series is coming back, and I'll try to bring back a certain series that I never got into in a while. Alright, so, 3 more reviews coming up, and more reviews to come. So, that's it for now, and see you in the next review. So, as good old McFlurry says, have a nice day, or a good night, I should say, at least this moment, whatever time you're watching this video. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, and of course, get a good rest for the night, and have a good day, and a good old McFlurry says another thing, peace out.